Hey, so this is just a short video giving you a bit of an idea of why I personally started B2B Leads.com and I guess what drives me and the company to keep continuing to improve and give you an insight to what we're all about. All right, let's jump straight into it. So why I started B2B Leads.com, and full disclosure, it did not start as B2B Leads.com. The story starts way back when, well, I'll go all the way back to the beginning. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ryan. I'm the founder of B2B Leads.com. I actually was born, well, not born, but I grew up in a little town called Nhulunbuy or Gove in a small town in Australia in the Northern Territory. And I grew up very much out in the bush, shooting, fishing, camping, spending a lot of time outdoors, and I really developed a love for just being outdoors in nature and being just fairly active and outside. So, I grew up in the Northern Territory. I then moved to a place called Brisbane, where I went to school, to high school, and then went to uni. I actually studied mining engineering, so I'm an engineer by background, and I got into a bunch of different hobbies, but my real passions in life live in, being outdoors, camping, family, rock climbing, jiu-jitsu, bit of travel, at least probably more so before COVID, but still I do enjoy traveling when we get the chance, and spending time with my family and friends. Not too profound, not too exciting or interesting. I'm sure most of you are the same. But yeah, my professional career outside of all this actually began in mining, as you probably tell from being in mining engineering. And I spent 3 years out in central Queensland working as an operator, putting up bolts in underground coal mines. Very dark, dirty work. Work wasn't, I guess, too bad, but it wasn't really something I was particularly passionate or excited about. And after about 3 years of that, I ended up leaving the mines, and my wife and I, we ended up moving of all things out to Brazil, and we actually bought a farm. You can see it down there. That's me sitting on the cliff face, but that patch of grass down there is actually our farm, and we set up a bed and breakfast down in the mountains. See us building it there. Really quite an interesting sort of adventure, but unfortunately this was my first taste in business, and it was a complete and utter failure financially. It was a lot of fun. I'd probably do it again given the chance, but financially it was far from a success. And it's where I really learned my first lesson in business, but unfortunately I didn't learn it until a few more years later. So completely broke. Back in Australia now. I was trying to get my foot in the digital space. I wasn't too excited to get back into mining, though at heart, I really feel like I still am to this day an engineer at heart. I really love me some data, and I love to optimize and build things. That's really what I love most, I think, is taking something relatively simple, not doing 1,000 different things, and just focusing intently on that and optimizing and improving and trying to perfect it as much as possible. I really enjoy that process. And I think that's something that's really key to our culture at B2B Leads, is that building optimal processes and constant tweaking and optimization. Anyway, back in Australia now, I'm trying to get my foot into the digital arena. I worked at digital marketing agency. I worked as a web developer for a motorhome and international motorhome company. And all the while, like I said, completely broke from that adventure in Brazil, trying to get some money, save up some money, and start a business on the side. So there were a lot of different attempts at business. There was, I was trying to start a rock climbing training equipment website, a marketing consultancy website. It was very general and very broad, and there was no sort of key messaging around it. And sadly, well, not sadly, but basically all these were failures in the long run. But I mean, essentially they all led me to where we are now, and they're all very valuable lessons learnt, and in a way, like, unavoidable. That's really how I got to where I was and how I learnt what really is important when it comes to business. And yeah, it wasn't until the arrival of my son in 2016 that it really was sink or swim time. Like I said, we were completely broke. I was riding Uber delivery eats, delivering people's foods at nighttime, just trying to do everything that we could to bring in money. And my wife and I, we both came from professional roles in mining, and my wife wasn't working. She was looking after my son, and just it was a big hit to us financially. And But the good thing about it was obviously amazing to have a son and a family, but there was this huge drive now. It really was this, drive to actually make the business work. And I realized that for the business to work, for a business to work, to actually have a successful business, which is something I really did want to have, the key thing that I needed to do was solve a problem. In the past, if I was to look at what I had done previously, it wasn't solving problems. I was just doing things that I liked, bread and breakfast in the mountains. It's a cool idea, but it's far from necessarily a problem that needs to be solved. And if I looked back at all my business and failures and whatnot in the past, the common problem that always needed to be solved for me was this idea of client acquisition. Like a successful business, a business in general needs a way to be able to essentially buy clients when it needs to and grow at its own, at its own will, essentially. And I really committed myself to learning absolutely everything I could. So I was working full time, doing delivery eats, and every spare second I had, I was barely sleeping at night. I was putting into learning different ways to acquire clients through digital marketing methods and practices. And there was success with, a number of different things. I'm not here to say that different platforms don't work, but a lot of what I did do, I found it was frustrating because I found it would work for more established businesses, but when it came to actually generating leads for myself, it was just not the right method. And it wasn't until I found LinkedIn that this was a strategy I could use to generate leads for myself and my business. And it was also a platform that I could use to help my clients grow their businesses. And it really came down to this, what I was saying before, what I really enjoy and what is really key to our culture is not trying to do absolutely everything, but focusing in and being really good and optimizing and tweaking and improving one thing. And so being able to generate leads with this method for ourselves meant that we could optimize it for ourselves. But as we're optimizing it for ourselves and growing our client base, we could also be applying what we learn to our clients and growing theirs, and what we learn from theirs, we could apply to ours. And so constantly, being a small business, you don't have a ton of resources. So it allowed us to grow really fast by just focusing in on one thing that generated the best results. And it wasn't really until, I discovered LinkedIn that we were able to grow the business quite substantially. We've been growing double size or double revenue year on year, and more than that in profit for the last 5 years. I'm really excited to see where we're going to take it. So we've really focused quite heavily on LinkedIn, and we'll continue to until it's time to start adding other services that can add equal or better value to our clients. And that's what's been really important to us, is we've always focused on where we felt we found the most leverage for both us and our clients. So coming back to, understanding why we started B2BLeads.com, it really does come down to this idea of freedom. This idea of freedom to control the growth of your company, the freedom to spend time with your family and do the things you love every day, not necessarily just on the few weeks that you can have holiday. And this is really core to our culture at B2B Leads, who we want in our team, the types of clients we want. People who enjoy life, want to have more time to do the things they enjoy, and the freedom to grow their business so they can either spend more time on their business doing high value things, or to spend more time with the family or doing their hobbies. So that's just a little bit of insight into why we created the business, where what's core to what we do, the kinds of clients we want to work with, people who resonate with that. And that's pretty much it. Hope that was insightful or interesting. I'd love to know why you started your business. Leave some comments below. I hope to hear from you. And as always, have a great day. Cheers.